Final thing we're going to learn about today is an HTML attribute called the ID attribute. So as a reminder, an HTML attribute is something like href right here, which is something that goes inside of an HTML start tag that then provides more information about that HTML element. So in this case, this ID attribute goes inside of this h1 tag, and what it does is it identifies this element as the math element. So what that does for us is, you might have been wondering earlier how, when I clicked on math, our web page knew to navigate us down to this math section. Well, if we go back up and look at this math link right here, which is right here, you'll notice, interestingly enough, that the href isn't something external like we've been seeing, right? So for example, it's not another website that it's linking to like we've been seeing up to this point. So in other words, whereas down here, this href of wikipedia.org actually brought us to Wikipedia, what happens here instead with this href is that it's just telling this anchor tag to look for an element with an ID attribute of math. So when I click on here, it looks through my HTML document and it looks for an element with the ID attribute of math. And it then knows to navigate to that element. One important thing though, for this to work, for this anchor tag to work, you'll notice that it actually does need this pound symbol in this href attribute for it to work properly. So for example, if I remove this pound, or if you want to call it a hashtag, that's also fine, then it won't actually navigate correctly to that math section. So it broke this time. Again, so you do need this pound symbol right here in order for this to actually link to the ID attribute of math. Final thing, ID attributes don't necessarily only have to go inside of an h1 element. It can actually go inside of any HTML element. So if I moved it to, for example, this anchor tag element instead, that'll also work. So that instead of now navigating to the h1 element, it's actually going to navigate to the anchor element. So let's see that happen right now. Look. See, it linked us, or it led us and helped us navigate directly to the anchor, because that's where the ID attribute of math is now. So as a recap, the ID attribute helps identify HTML elements.